So, I might have some explaining to do. Because if you follow most of the Let's Plays I release on this channel, you'd probably be pretty much in the loop as to what's going on. However, if you just follow Bane's realm, you might be just a little bit confused. So to summarize things, that evil Chris that came into this world, I think he's taken care of. I don't think we'll have to worry about him again. I hope. And all you have to deal with now is just good old-fashioned "this is Chris" with a bunch of things I'm not familiar with here. Like, why do we have a bunch of knights just roaming around Victoria now? Like, I don't remember leaving all this last time I was here. But anyways, Bane and Blade, they're still out and about looking for Max, surprisingly. Like, I knew he was out and about hiding somewhere, but I didn't know it was that hard to find him. And of course, one of my original builds I built here, Skullball, sadly doesn't work anymore. The mod's not being updated anymore, which means this thing is kind of useless now. But I feel like we need to have at least some form of fun activity to do in Victoria, so I'm gonna tear this down and replace it with something else. And now that it's been torn down, I think this spot probably isn't going to be big enough. So I might instead build it over in this area right here, because there is a ton more space, which I have no idea if we're going to be used or not, so I might as well fill it up with something. But you might be wondering, what is this fun activity and bit of entertainment I'm going to be building inside of Victoria? Well, to show exactly what I mean, I popped into one of my testing creative worlds to show off the fact that about a year ago, I found a bug to do with rails, and the fact that if you were to piston them away from the actual rail line, what will actually happen is, for some reason or another, the rail would just stay up in place, which means you could make maybe like minecart roller coaster rails, something just a little bit like this, where you go up and down, and as long as you place in the minecarts and the rails and everything correctly, you should have no problem in riding across this. And you know, I could build something around this size and what I did right here, but you know what? I kind of want to go a little bit bigger than this, because I think going back and forth around something this size is fun, but not exciting. And now that I'm back in the world, I'm going to have to do quite a bit of resource gathering for this roller coaster. And that's exactly what I did as I went down to the mine to gather up all the building blocks I'm going to need, as well as all the materials I'm going to need to make all the rails. And after I did all that, I hope now I have everything I need to build this one roller coaster. But you know, it is me saying that, so I probably did underperform in the amount of resources I need. So the first bit of this track is going to be relatively simple, nothing too complicated, pretty much just like a really straight line heading down this way. But before I do anything else, I have to remember every single time I place any powered rail or anything like that, I have to make sure it's powered. Because otherwise, any update to these blocks, whether it be powering it, unpowering it, or anything like that, will completely ruin it. And I forgot to grab a sticky piston. But now that that's taken care of, let's get some of these rails raised. And it's tricky doing it in creative, but it's even more tricky doing it in survival, because you have to place this tiny thing, you have to place that, you have to remove all this, and you have to pick everything back up. It's a pretty big hassle in survival. So the big question is, am I going to regret building something this big? We'll have to see as we go. And I forgot to power this side. You see, these things are just the finickiest things ever. Like, one tiny little slip up of not powering something and everything gets ruined. But oh well, we might as well do a little test with this first little bit we made, and yep, that works pretty well. Even if it was only for just like 2 seconds. But now time for the slightly more exciting parts of this roller coaster, because now we're doing just a few more daring jumps, if you want to call it that. Yeah, as you can see, these jumps keep getting further and further along as we go, and they are just far enough to make it more extreme, but just close enough for the minecarts to actually catch you. And so I continued expanding these jumps over and over again for a little while, until I made it about here, which is roughly about halfway through with actually building up this entire thing. And while this has been like kind of tricky to actually build up completely, it's actually not been too incredibly hard, or not as hard as I originally thought it was going to be. Now, would it be easier just to lay down a whole bunch of tracks on its own the normal boring way? Of course, but you know what? I like to do things much more differently here on Bane's Realm. The only thing is actually when you have to actually build downwards, because right here in my testing world, I have a pretty big drop going up and then drop going down to another rail, so building under here, a little bit tricky, but not completely impossible. Also, if for whatever reason I accidentally happen to fall off the minecart track, all I gotta do is just hop in a minecart and just ride my way back to where I was. I mean, how easy is this, getting up to your building spot until you forget to do something like that? It's a good thing health and safety is in here, otherwise I'd be having a massive issue with them. But I guess if you're good at parkour, you could just make your way over there by jumping over. If I could do this, and hey, Hey, first I made it over there. You know, maybe this could double up as a parkour course. I mean, it's possible. It could happen. After a little bit more building, I have pretty much one more of these really long and straight, narrow paths, and ow. Essentially, I have that tiny bit right there, and then one more huge jump to reach right back to the start. The only unfortunate thing is, I'm out of gold. Now, typically what I would do is off camera, I would go around and steal some gold to build up some things, but unfortunately, I accidentally took all the gold from Victoria. At least I believe I took all the gold. Yeah, I'm not really seeing any here, which means I really only have one option right now. If I can't get all the gold I need here, then there is no place in this world that I'll be able to get all the gold from. Okay, that might not be entirely true, but you know, if I'm gonna find any gold, which, by the way, look at that. Just found some gold. But yeah, if I'm gonna find any gold, it's probably gonna be in the nether. Let the mining time lapse ensue. Alright, me in the editing room, remember to just cut this out. I don't want to seem like a lunatic coming all the way to Fallen Maple. Alright, but do they have any gold? Do they have any gold? Do they have any gold? Do they have any... Well, they have a little bit of gold. Not sure if this is gonna be enough, but I might as well try. Might as well pick up some gold on the way back, just to make sure it's not too obvious I stole from Fallen Maple. Alright, and almost made it home. Perfect, perfect. 3, 2, 1, and go. And after a very long mining trip, I managed to get myself quite a decent amount of gold. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be enough for what I'm going to need for this roller coaster, but you know what? It should be at least close enough. I mean, coming back here and looking at it, I don't think we have a crazy amount more left to do. And I believe, to my knowledge, this might be the last line I actually have to do, because the entire plan was it was going to loop back on its own, and I believe this might actually be it. And I believe with this, the entirety of this roller coaster is pretty much completely done. So all we gotta do is just hope we don't die here. Mission accomplished there. And then have a little ride, do a little test to go, just to make sure everything is working properly. So, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. So we're on our little, sort of small little jumps. We got slightly bigger ones right here. We're going to be hopping across over here, going up and up, down and up, going across those rails over here, going up around here, up over here, doing plenty of jumps across many different parts of this one roller coaster, going over this way, and then going all the way up here, and then this is the big drop coming all the way back down, and right back to the start. So from the looks of things, everything seems to be working properly and as intended for this entire roller coaster. So I guess any members of Bane's Realm, if you want to pop over and ever have a go, then feel free to. And it is a good thing that we had absolutely nothing planned for this one area, huh? Totally was a good thing to make sure that everything was totally a-okay for building over here, huh? No issues in building in this spot, I'm sure of that. I mean, if anything were to be planned here, it'd be obviously marked out and planned out and claimed over here, right? Right?